Hello, and welcome to the Undrift. Today, we're going to get into a little bit of history of my journey into drifting. See, my drifting journey started with racing, not on a wheel, but on controller. Now, I did have a rubber band wheel in the early 2000s, but that was actually worse than playing on a controller. Whatever. And back then I played with old Need for Speed games. There wasn't a whole lot of fidelity there. I mean, if I had 360 degrees of rotation, that would have been awesome. I think I had 180 most of the time. But anyway, then back in about 2014, I bought an Xbox 360. Not for me, for my wife. She wanted to play Gears of War. That's not what worked for me. I ended up playing the entire Forza series. And I think Forza Horizon 1 and 2 came out at about that same time. So I played those too. They were fun. They got me addicted. Now, I started with the PlayStation 1 many years before that and played through Gran Turismo. That's important. Remember that later on. But anyway, back to the 360. I got good. I played those games over and over again. I had the difficulty set as high as it would go, and it wasn't enough. I'm not bragging. I just really enjoy it. So basically, I decided I needed a gaming PC and a force feedback steering wheel. I'd never played with that before. So I started with a Thrustmaster TMX. It was awesome. I mean, racing got real. I played Forza 5 and 6 again. I played Project Cars. I bought a Assetto Corsa and hated it. Little did I know then. Anyway, I got good at racing with my TMX. It was faster than I had been on controller. I maxed out the difficulty again in Forza 5 and 6. Like, where do I go now? Then I saw drift videos. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I remember drift mode in the original Gran Turismo. Remember, I mentioned that earlier. I had no idea what it actually was at the time. I just knew that I could kind of... The car's a little sidey going through turns, and sometimes it was quicker, sometimes it wasn't. Didn't really think much about it. But I figured, hey, I'm a good racer. I'm sure I can drift, right? Yeah, right. That was 3.5 years ago. The TMX got modded and died. Not related. It modded successfully. I put a bigger steering wheel on it because the little tiny thing was just way too toyish. I did a bearing mod on it to make the wheel move faster because in drift you need a little more response. And eventually it died. The motor wasn't meant for that. I replaced it with a TSPC, also Thrustmaster, and that wheel was a life changer. It had way more force feedback. It was way faster, and my drifting exploded. That, however, wasn't enough either. So now I'm on a Moza R9, and there's no comparison. Direct drive is where it's at. 9 Newton meters of nominal force is what you need to drift. Anybody that says otherwise is probably better at it than me, but that's alright. So, regardless, there were 5 main games that played a part in this strange and, I guess, wonderful trip. So, sit back and reflect with me on this journey into the Undrift. Now, I didn't just jump into trying to drift with a steering wheel. That would be insane. I went back to all my favorite games, like Forza 7 here, and learned how to do it on a controller. And of course, I remembered having played Need for Speed Underground and Underground 2, which kind of, dipped my toes in the water of drifting. So, when I got into things like CarX on a controller, there was something that actually made sense. But trying this on a wheel, well, I still can't drift in Forza 7 on a wheel. Part of it is because this game is horribly optimized on PC. So, even with a very high-end PC, this thing lags and jumps and stuff like that, which is not what you need when you're drifting. You need instant response. This doesn't have it. I know some people actually do drift on here and are quite accomplished at it. I'm not one of them. I can sometimes hold a drift. I can do minimal stuff, but Forza 7 ain't my game when it comes to drifting. I can race in this game still really well, but not my choice for drift. And then came Forza Horizon 4. Fortunately, Horizon 5 hadn't come out yet. And I could not drift in this game to save my life. But I kept going. I kept trying. And eventually, I got a little better. It's still not one of my go-to games to drift, but for just a goofy drift session, kind of free roam stuff, it's kind of fun. I mean, obviously I can now drift in it, but it took a good 2 years to be able to actually drift in this game. And people were like, hey, this is the easiest game on the planet where you can drift with a wheel. And that wasn't my experience. I had actually mastered, well, not mastered exactly, but gotten much better in other games before I got to the point of being able to drift in Horizon 4. I can drift in Horizon 5, obviously, as well, because they're basically the same game. Not much change between the two, except for the scenery. And honestly, I think the scenery in Horizon 4 is better. I think they wasted their time with Horizon 5, but that's my opinion. And I get a lot of people share that opinion, however. But either way, I had a lot of fun with this game, both on controller and on wheel. So, crunch, get something else. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. Okay, now we're in Overdrift Festival, and this was not the next game I tried. The next game I went to was CarX, but Overdrift Festival plays a part in this. And in the line of importance, this definitely comes in third. CarX will be second. I mean, you know, unrealistic physics. Cars that do really goofy things. But, you know, a sense of being able to drift. And kind of getting into what a drift car should look like and feel like. So, Overdrift Festival was good for that. Unfortunately, it does not work with my Moses shifter for some strange reason. So, I have to shift on keyboard, which is really annoying. The handbrake works. And I haven't played this game in a really long time. I'm very bad at it currently. I can get hit. Got a cool car though. I can hit stuff. For some reason, this is one of the few drifting games I can actually play better in third person than in first person. Again, because it's horribly unrealistic, has really bad physics, but it's fun. And there were a lot of times after getting very frustrated trying to drift in other games, I'd come back to Overdrift Festival and just play around and have fun with it. Like I said in some of my earlier videos, if I'm not having fun with it, why bother? So, that's Undrift Festival in a nutshell. It was just something fun. A nice diversion. And I keep hitting stuff, because that's what I do. Now we start to get down to it. We're in CarX. This is a game that I have spent a ridiculous amount of time in. Back before Kino and all those other nice things in the workshop, I played this on controller. And I played every track until I got it to where I could pretty much double whatever score was required for gold. And just kept going from there. I got all the different tracks, all the different cars. I've got a ridiculous amount of money in my bank. You know, what everybody does with CarX. And then I tried it on the wheel, and I struggled for a while. I got really good at it on my TSPC. And then CarX, in their infinite CarX wisdom, did stupid things to the game, and it's been interesting to drift ever since. Something I used to be absolutely perfect in for the most part is now a struggle. That's CarX for you. It's not a big deal. Clunk. I can drift better than this, honest. But again, it's an arcade game. It's meant to be fun. Oddly enough, I can grab a controller and drift like a champ in this game. On a wheel, kind of hit or miss. Things that make drifting possible in an actual simulation make it just about impossible in this game. There is very little reward for decent throttle control. Car setup makes less difference in here than it does in other games. I think this was actually better before I had direct drive. That's kind of sad. Oddly enough, CarX Street, I can drift a little better in than this. And I guess it's a slightly updated engine from this, but all the things I loved about CarX basically disappeared in some of the updates they did, so it's still fun to kind of hang out every once in a while and mess around in CarX. But then it gets frustrating and I stop playing it. Remember back at the beginning of this video where I said I tried racing in Assetto Corsa and hated it, and then I chuckled a little? There's a reason for that. It's my go-to game now. I spend, 99% of my time drifting in Assetto Corsa because it's awesome. So far Evo doesn't do anything for me, but Assetto Corsa, this is where I learned to really drift. As you can see, it's been fairly successful. I really like this game. Millions of other people, and not all for the same reasons, but I mean, this is a car that's not available, but I can play with it anyway. If you don't know me, I love E36s. That's my favorite car to drift. This track is Shadow Realm. It's also one of my favorite tracks to drift. You can probably tell that I've got many hours in drifting this track because I know where to go. I know what to do. these are the things I used to be able to do in CarX, even on a wheel, that I can't anymore. So, a set of course is it. And you know what? I'm alright with that. I love this game. I have a lot of fun with it. I still hit stuff every once in a while. It happens. It's a drift car. What do you expect? But I've made significant progress. 3.5 years later, I'm still having fun. 3.5 years later, I'm still learning stuff. Thanks for coming on the journey with me. Let's just sit back and watch the last part of this lap. Just goofing around in the parking lot for a minute. Well, if you stuck around this long, you're either a true fan or more likely a family member. Thanks either way. Good to see you again. Hope to see you next time on the Undrift, and hope you enjoyed a little glimpse into my journey into the Undrift.